What are some cooking hacks you swear by? Revive veggies that have lost their water by cutting their edges and soaking them in cold water. Lettuce, carrots, celery will be crisp again. If your food is bland even though you've added salt, then it's missing acidity. Lemon juice, lime juice, or vinegar are easy additions. I use soy sauce in a lot of stews and soups to help bring out savory flavors. My minestrone, for instance, usually has some soy sauce in it. Not mine, but my wife browns the butter before she adds it to chocolate chip cookie dough, and they're the best freaking cookies I've ever eaten. Leaving a pot holder on the handle of a clean cast iron pan to let anyone who might put it away know it may be hot as it cools down. If the recipe says to sauté onions and garlic together at the same time, don't. Do the onions first, and then add the garlic when the onions are just about done. Garlic can be over-sautéed and it takes on a bitter flavor. Prep everything first. Have all of your veggies cut and ingredients ready. You will be more relaxed. Clean as you go. Wash your dishes while waiting for your food to finish cooking. Less dishes to deal with at the end of the night. I always take my cookies out of the oven a couple minutes or so before they're supposed to come out. They still cook a little bit when they're cooling on the pan, and as a result they come out nice and soft. Have a cheat sheet for times things go in the oven and how long it takes so you can prepare side dishes to go with the entree. When making stuffed shells by hand, mix the filling in a zip-top bag, then cut a corner off and use it as a makeshift piping bag to fill the shells. Boxed chocolate cake, use cooled brewed coffee instead of the water. Richens the flavor so much. I do it with box brownies too. Put a damp paper towel under your cutting board to prevent it from sliding around when you are cutting. If it's bland, add salt. If it tastes good but is missing something, add acid lemon juice, hot sauce, some type of vinegar, etc. If you're making a savory dish that uses crushed minced garlic, reserve a little bit of the fresh garlic and stir it into the dish right before serving. The fresh garlic adds a bit of a pop that you lose if it's cooked. Boiling stuff in broth instead of water. Rice, potatoes, etc. When making mashed potatoes, boiling them in chicken stock seriously makes a world of difference. Ice cube in the center of your leftover rice before you microwave it makes the rice get soft and fluffy again. Microwaving broccoli is not only okay to do, it can also preserve the most amount of nutrients than any other method of cooking it. Something missing from your tomato pasta sauce? Add a splash of Worcestershire sauce. Makes it taste rich and fuller. When you get a roaster chicken at the store, make your own broth with the bones and carcass when you're done. It's time consuming, but it honest to God makes wherever you cook it smell like home. Prep everything before you start cooking. If it's missing something but you don't know what, then add a pinch of salt or a splash of acid. Whoever didn't cook, cleans up afterwards. Don't fry bacon on a stove. Place the strips on a cookie sheet, throw in the oven at about 400 until the doneness you like. Use parchment paper or aluminum foil and there is virtually no cleanup. Hard-boiled eggs. Steam them in a veggie basket and they peel perfectly, no old eggs or new eggs trick or anything. Steam for 13 minutes and put in cold water. 98% success rate. Not everyone cooks. My advice: take the time to learn how to cook from scratch or raw ingredients. Learn this as early as you can. You will eat better food and enjoy it far more by knowing exactly what's in it and how it was made. As an added bonus, it's far cheaper in terms of monetary output. You still pay with your time but your overall quality of life will greatly improve. Buy a bag of MSG. It's not bad for you. A pinch of MSG can really help round out a dish. Put some pasta water in your spaghetti sauce and reduce it a little before you serve. The starch helps the sauce stick to the noodles. You should really be finishing the noodles in the sauce anyway. Take a trip to your local Asian International Food Market. My kids like hard-boiled eggs. I only make them in the air fryer now. I haven't had a hard time peeling them since doing this. Start cooking with an empty dishwasher and fill as you go. Always have the red and a white wine specifically for cooking lying around. Farmers market produce keeps longer than most other produce. Let your lettuce sit in ice water until you're ready to serve to maximize crunch. Cook meatloaf in a round bundt pan instead of a loaf pan. Increased surface area means more of the meatloaf is the outer crust, which is the best part of meatloaf. I learned this from my wife and I'll never go back to making rectangular meatloaf. Never use margarine in a recipe, always use real butter. The taste with margarine is entirely different even if people claim it isn't. When using Lipton's onion soup mix in a recipe, always add double what the recipe calls for. MSG motherfuckers! You ever wonder why restaurant food tastes so good? Why some food is so fucking rich in flavor? Why you just can't stop eating that one kind of chip? It's probably MSG. It's perfectly safe in moderation, naturally occurs in many foods, and adds a delicious flavor to your food. Starting bacon in an inch with water has been a game changer for me and I'll never go back. Renders the fat and raises the temperature of the meat, then when the water is boiled off it crisps up perfectly in 2-3 minutes at low-medium heat. Pay attention to the direction of the grain of the meat you're cooking and cut it so that each grain will be as short as possible. Imagine meat when it falls apart when you use a slow cooker. Instead of long strands, you want little short ones. This will aid in mouthfeel and chewiness like you would not believe. Meat will feel way more tender too. If you leave beans on water at least 12 hours before cooking will help release the gas. This will make them behave in your belly and not cause too much gas there. Celebratory hands in the air. If you're cutting up chicken or some other meat that will spoil, put the scraps into a Ziploc bag and put them in the freezer until garbage day. That way they will not make your garbage smell and you're throwing out chicken ice cubes basically. Start pork chops in a cold pan. It keeps them from bowing up and you can get a good sear. Fresh olive oil. Not that yellow stuff in a giant jug from the grocery store. Find a supplier. Get one green and grassy one and one mellow buttery one. No large containers, you don't want it sitting around too long. Boom, you just improved many dishes. Cooking greasy foods? Bacon? Cheap oats and sprinkle in the pan, soak up the grease and you'll really just wipe out. I put mine in containers to give to the birds. Half a star anise in any beef mince dish. It just adds a tiny lift that I really enjoy. Ragu, chili, crispy beef and broccoli etc. just half is enough. I'll also add it to steamed rice sometimes, but also cardamom pods work well to perfume it.